Hey, everybody. As of a couple days ago, I am a proud owner of a Mega65, which is a project I've been following for, like a decade or so. I finally pulled the trigger on buying one of these things. And ever since then, I've been going through the 65 stages of grief, I guess, because I'm not the most good-brained. I see a lot of people who own these things and post videos, or they're in the Discord and message boards. They're very intelligent. They're so smart, they know the word smart. They don't use stupid terms like good-brained, but that's not me. So I've been, struggling with this thing. It's been super fun, don't get me wrong. I mean, part of the fun of owning something like this is figuring everything out. I wanted to share what I found because I am on a Mac. That's my primary computer, and some software that works with the Mega65, there's not really a great Mac alternative. For instance, one of the things I wanted to do was to create blank disk images and then load up a bunch of programs on the disk and, virtual disk, and then move them over to the Mega65. Windows has a program called Dir Master, D-I-R, not D-U-R-R, Dir. And that does not run on Mac. I tried to use Wine or Crossover. That didn't really work. I looked for an alternative, and one that I found was called Disk Imagery 64. Again, it's a Windows-only program, but it does work with Crossover or Wine. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so in order to get started, you need to download Disk Imagery 64. It's available on SourceForge. I will provide a link in the description. Now, here's the thing. Technically, Disk Imagery 64 does have a Mac version, but it's like for old Intel Macs, and it's only for 32-bit operating systems or something. Mac does not even allow you to run 32-bit apps anymore. So when you go to SourceForge, you're going to want to click the download button, and what's going to happen is you're going to download some old-ass Mac app that's not even going to run on your computer probably, right? So don't click the download button. Instead, go to Files, click on Disk Imagery 64, current version, which I guess hasn't been updated since 2007. It's an old piece of tech, but it works. And then you're going to want to just download the exe file. Okay, this is not a tutorial on Wine or Crossover. I'm assuming that you know how to use it. If not, someone else on YouTube can provide that tutorial. I'm very helpful, I know. So when you download the app, right-click on it, open with Crossover. Crossover will open and say this is an unlisted application. You're going to have to select a bottle to install this software into. I just created a new bottle and call it C64 disk. No, that's not how you spell disk. Sorry. Disk imager. Windows 10 64-bit is actually okay. Halfway through the installation, you will see what looks like a Windows installer pop up, and it's going to ask you, questions about the installation. Do you want to provide a start menu shortcut? I just say yes to all that stuff. And it's going to ask where you want to put it. Again, it's like it's a Windows install, programs, x86, blah, 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 blah. And when it's completed, you can close it, and it'll finish installing. Now, I previously installed this. That's why there's two different kind of versions here. This is the one I just installed with you guys. So you just click on the link or icon, whatever you want to call it. All right, so then it's going to ask you if, the program can access your documents. Just allow. And you'll see a window pop up, and this is your Disk Imagery 64 file browser where you can actually create a new image. Image pops up here, and this is your disk you can work with. It is a D64. All right, so now we've got our C64 Windows-based disk imager working on a Mac. All right, now that we have our new disk open, we can start moving files over. And one of the things that I wanted to mess around with were playing some SID files, some Commodore 64, or in this case 65 music files. So I downloaded a couple of them, and I'm just going to move them up drag and drop. And again, I'm doing this from the Mac Finder all the way up to this Windows program. And it just, it drags and it drops as expected. These characters are a little nutty, so we're going to actually rename these files. And all you have to do is double click and you can change the names so they're not Petsky characters. So the other thing we need, and I don't think the Mega65 has a built-in SID player. Again, I could be wrong on all of these things. I cannot wait to look at the comments and be like, why are you doing all of this? This is all built in. It would take 2 seconds if you just knew what the hell you were doing. But again, this is how I've figured stuff out. Please correct me in the comments. Save me from myself. Anyway, so I found a great SID player for the Commodore 64 called SID Play 64. You may have heard of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy that over. It's SID Play 64 normal. What I will do is I'm going to just change the name because I don't need the dash and the normal. Let's just call it SID Play 64. Okay. And look, we got some SIDs. We've got a program in here to play the SIDs. We are good to go. All we have to do now is save the image. We're going to save it as a D64 file. I don't know why I would want to save it in my fonts directory. It's a little strange with the crossover thing, but you can go to your, documents folder or whatever. All right, so now we have a D64 file saved on our computer. How the heck are we going to get it over to the Mega65? Well, thankfully, there is an awesome piece of software designed by the Mega65 people called Mega65 Connect or M65 Connect, and that does have a Mac version. Hallelujah, right? Okay, again, because I am not a very helpful individual, I'm not going to show you exactly all the ins and outs of networking with the Mega65. I'm learning this on my own. Somehow I've figured it out. But the Mega65 does have an Ethernet port, so you can connect it to the internet, kind of. Better yet, you're connected to your home network. So I've got my Mac on the home network. I've got my Mega65 connected through the LAN. And you can get these two things talking thanks to the M65 Connect program. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn on the Mega65. There we go. So the way I understand it, in order to actually get your computers talking, you have to put the Mega65 in a send and receive type data mode. There's probably a technical term for that. I'm going to put it right here. See? Yeah, that's what it is. To get your computer in that mode, you just hit the shift button and the pound. You can see your computer is now flashing green and yellow, which means you are in the special transfer mode. Back on your Mac, when you load up N65 Connect, you'll see the status change from not connected to connected to Mega65 via LAN. All right, if you do not see the SD card manager, click on the SD card button in the M65 Connect window and the SD card manager window will pop up. The SD card we're using is the Mega65 internal. It's got some stuff I've included. I created a directory called games. I'm going to create another one here and I'm going to call it SIDS. Oops. So to transfer files, you just select something from the left side, which is your computer, then use the little arrow button in the middle to transfer the file over. And you can actually highlight multiple files if you wanted to, but we just wanted to transfer SID test 3 over. You just hit the arrow button, boom, it's in our SD card now. All right, let's switch over to the Mega65. Oh, so this is the Ethernet file transfer helper. You know, when we did the shift pound and M65 connected, this is what happened to your M65. So to get out of it, just hold restore. And now we're in the trusty Mega65 freeze menu. We're going to go ahead and load up the disk we just transferred over by hitting 0 to get to the internal drive. And as you can see, the SIDS directory I created is there. We got SID test 3. We're gonna load that disk up, and we will reset. So what I have found in my limited testing is that this SID player does not like Mega65 mode. Also, Go64 mode may be an issue. Here is Human Race. I don't remember it sounding quite like this. Not great. Let's try Gremlins. No. Now, there are probably some settings that I could change to make this work. I'm not at that level yet. What I have figured out that works is if we switch cores to the actual Commodore 64 core. Again, it's out of the scope of this video to show you how to get that, but there are plenty of tutorials online. Basically, you hold no scroll when you turn your Mega65 on, and if you've installed the C64 core, you can select that, and now we've got pretty much a stock Commodore 64. If you hit the help button on your keyboard, you can then mount a drive, and there's our directory again. We just go to SIDS, SID test 3. It's going to load it up. Just make sure everything's there. Again, we see all of our SIDs and our SID play. So let's load up SID play one more time. This time when we run SID play, it does not say Mega65. It says CBM DOS. Okay. Again, we're going to say no to that. Do we want to skip? Sure. Do you want to disable? Sure. And we'll use keyboard. Okay, let's see what we got. Again, we hit any key. We've got our SIDs. Let's try Human Race. Cross your fingers. And there it is. That is how I remember it sounding. And you can use the plus and minus keys to move through the various tracks or songs. Very cool. So that's how you play SID music. Again, there might be an easier way to do that. I would love the opportunity to learn. Please be kind to me in the comments. But there you go. I don't even remember why I started this. Like, is this the purpose of this video? I guess it was to show you how the disk imaging works with a Mac. And then we got sidetracked by SIDS. Well, how's that for a first video? I'm so sorry I put you through this, but hopefully it helped someone or inspired someone to create a proper tutorial how to do this, but maybe I'll be back with more. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.